Whoa, forgot I left you in there. My bad. You ever forget to eat during the day and then all of a sudden it's too late and you don't want to spend all that time prepping a meal, or you don't want to put on pants to go get something, and fucking delivery app's just too expensive? There we go. Lucky for me and you, our sponsor Factor has us covered. Factor is a meal delivery service that delivers fresh, delicious, crafted food straight to your door, which will be ready to eat in less time than it would even take me to decide what to order from some delivery app. If you get thirsty while you wait, well, Factor's also got snacks and cold-pressed juices to keep your thirst slaked. And if you go to factor75.com and use the code 50bento at checkout, you can get 50% off your first box, plus free shipping. Why am I recording this whole fuck? And like that, science has done its work and my meal is done. So thank you once again to Factor. Go to factor75.com and use the code 50bento at checkout to get 50% off your first box. And with that, on to the video. I'm kind of blocked by the camera.
We've done it.
We did it.
We got the vigilante.
The vigilantes. Vigilantism is now illegal.
Finally! By the way, I totally accidentally called this plot point when I threw in the joke about JJ supporting Kingpin for mayor.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Originally in the script, I had it that Kingpin was running for president, and you switched it to Osborn because Kingpin is more of a mayor.
Yes, yeah, okay, no, yeah, I called it privately. Okay, yeah, because I said I think Kingpin would run for mayor of New York. I don't think he'd run for president. And then lo and behold, in this show, they agreed.
I was just going for corrupt businessman turned politician, and lo and behold, that's what this show ran with.
Yeah, and like Osborn has run for and been president in the Marvel comics. But
so that's a peek behind like one little off joke in the Craven videos that some of you have watched.
Me and Nick are enough of a comic nerds to argue about what should be canon in our satire universe. But not really argue, but discuss. Yeah, we weren't arguing.
No, we don't have time for that.
We have civil disagreements. We actually don't really fight.
Not really, no.
You think people would fight about what's in comics and superhero stuff?
That's crazy.
But yeah, this show.
I have feelings on where it left off, but I'll say overall, spoiler free, it's a fine show. I enjoyed it for the most part throughout. A lot of the episodes are very kind of middling to me, but overall, I think it's probably one of the better Disney Plus Marvel shows.
I think the first 6-ish episodes I like more than the Netflix show.
Really?
Yeah. But the latter half of the season, like the last third, I'm a lot more
everything after the bank heist episode?
Yeah, and it's also everything after the creative team apparently kind of switched up a bit.
Oh, really?
Which has me a little worried.
I can see why they might have needed some rewrites and some switch arounds. I'm guessing that a lot of this was written pre-election. And some of the later themes seem to lean pretty heavily into the ideology of the people behind the writing.
Yeah, well, and I imagine they are in a uncomfortable position now, where they're like, wow, our writing's more relevant than we expected. Oh no, it's way more relevant than we expected it to be.
There's this demagogue who's setting up private prisons to hold his enemies.
Yeah, oh god.
While funneling money from offshore, it's satire is dead.
Crime is now illegal except for you.
Yeah, satire's dead. The boys, it's been discussed with the boys because no matter how far they went, irony was dead with that show. There's no way.
Yeah, well, and here, because they're not doing it ironically, it just ends up being actually genuinely poignant and of the moment, which again, I imagine they wanted it to be less of the moment than it currently is. But the show is very relevant in ways that are
very much so
deeply troubling.
Kind of opposite to I know neither of you were willing to go to Captain America: Brave New World with me. Yeah, I asked on multiple occasions, you're like, no. So in that,
and you know what? Audiences also said, I don't feel like it.
Yeah, it was a movie, and it had kind of like the opposite thing going, where it kind of paid no heed to like real world politics and tried to pretend that like, oh, all these differences can be talked out. Like this movie's like, or this entire show is like, no. The corrupt politicians are evil, guys. Demagoguery is bad. Fascism is bad.
They will kill you. Yeah. And they will feel nothing about it.
And sycophants will always find a way to weasel their way to the top.
Yeah, and they'll be like, man, it's bad what he's doing. Anyway, gotta keep doing my job.
Oh, well.
Gotta keep helping him.
Yeah, watching something like this, or also The Boys, nowadays, there's a certain level of like doom and gloom of like, oh god, it's too real. But there's also a level of what's the word?
Catharsis.
Catharsis? Yeah, where it's like, I feel good. I feel crazy
Like,
right
you're
now. At
like-
least someone's talking about it. You know?
Like at least your opinion is like the fact, the state of the world, like you don't feel like you're going crazy because other people notice it too.
Yeah,
it's not all just the weirdos on social media being like, no, this is a good thing. This is why I voted for it, brother.
Right.
Fucking. Oh my god.
It does feel. It feels more good than bad, I think, to watch something like this.
Yeah.
You know, because of how poignant it is.
Yeah, like, and if you don't want spoilers, I feel like the non-spoiler part of this is gonna be very short.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything I could get into that isn't spoilery.
I will say to your like one disagreement I do kind of have with you in terms of this, like you said, you kind of like this better than the Netflix show. Like maybe overall I might agree, but like I don't think anything in this show ever hits that sort of level of hype that I got in that first season of Daredevil and parts of the third season on Netflix.
I also agree.
Like the action in those just feels so much more visceral, and while there's certainly more budget behind the action in Born Again, it just doesn't quite hit the same way. Like that hallway fight in season 1, still fucking
the
peak.
action is by far weaker. Like there's good action, there's never great action, but the writing's better. I don't think the writing in any of the seasons of Daredevil are particularly special.
I'd say season 1 and 3 had its moments. Season 2 is kind of like a lot of people. Season 2 was where it was kind of dwindling with the whole trying to get the Defenders up and running and get the Punisher a spin-off going.
It's wild that you say 3 because like I've talked to people who've watched season 3 and forgotten the entire season, like that they watched it at all.
That's fair, but that's the one that introduces Poindexter. It's the one where like
And people I've talked to forgot, like comic fans forgot that Bullseye was ever introduced. Bullseye. Forgot that Bullseye was ever introduced, period.
Okay.
I need to revisit the Netflix shows. I watched them all through again, except for Iron Fist.
Good choice.
When they were going away from Netflix, because it's funny, I was having surgery at that time, and so I was like, I have nothing but time, so I might as well go through them. And I felt there's something about some of your senses being dulled and watching Matt, and you're like, I'm a superhero, actually. I can heal my body through just concentrating on it. That was very fun for me.
Hopes and dreams.
But yeah, no, I unfortunately, like, I will say, before I say what I'm about to say about the show, that I was so excited. I didn't realize how much I loved Daredevil until it was real and it was happening, and like, oh, the show's coming out next week. It's not like a in the ether kind of thing.
Like he showed up in No Way Home, you popped a little, and then
I freaked the fuck up. I was like, I freaked up. That's a saying now.
Freaked up.
I, again, recovering from surgery, I had this this thing where it was like, if I pass this one test with my surgery, then I don't have to do more tests and blah blah blah. And if I pass it, that means I get to see Spider-Man No Way Home. That means I get to go to the theater and sit there, and that was my reward for getting past this thing. And when he appeared, I was sitting, I've told you guys, I was sitting with my mom who knows nothing about Marvel stuff, but every time there was a cameo, I was like, you know, upright, and she was like, what's happening? And I'm like, I'll explain later. But I was so excited that he was there, and you can talk a lot about like shows coming back, but it's not real until it's real for me, when people are writing off shows for tax purposes and shit. So I was so excited, and we're in the spoiler territory right now.
Oh, are we?
Yeah,
Okay.
right? Spoilers?
We didn't say spoilers were starting, but we can now.
You were just saying
I was
it,
going
and
to say
then-
stuff about it, and then we kept talking.
Gotcha. Okay, well,
Takeaway for non-spoiler stuff, I think it's a pretty strongly written show. It's a lot more overtly political and adult than you expect it to be, and I think that's good.
It treats its audience at least like a little bit like they're intelligent for the most part.
But I think the season kind of falls off a little bit in the last third.
A lot of the episodes kind of blend together for me. Was kind of my thing, where it's just like, okay, then this happened, then that happened, then this happened, and as we're easing into spoilers, here's kind of like a spoiler, non-spoiler.
We're applying some light lube.
Yeah,
and easing into the spoiler.
Next phase of non-spoiler.
Yeah, we're one knuckle deep. It kind of ends in a spot where it's like it feels like a mid-season finale.
Yeah, that's what I've been calling it. Is like it's a mid-season finale.
Like
dressed up like a finale.
It has the ending of like the middle chapter in a trilogy, where it kind of ends at what feels like a low point for like your characters' like emotional beats.
Which is fine long term, but when you're set up for like season finale, it's not exactly what you're looking for.
It really feels like it was supposed to be 18 episodes, and this is like the mid.
But they
want to call it season 1, season 2.
Yeah, the season itself doesn't tell a full story. It kind of like leaves you hanging on the story itself. I guess if it does tell a story, it's just about Wilson Fisk's rise. Like that's the only real story I think it tells from beginning to end.
Yeah, because it, I was so excited for Daredevil, but there was nothing really in this season that kind of excited me like the Netflix show. Like, I just really prefer the Netflix show. If this was in between, like an episode 9 of an 18 episode season, I'd be like, okay, I understand why it's ending like this, but it just kind of left me I don't know, I'm not excited for the next season after seeing that. It kind of just, what's that feeling of like,
you're left wanting, but not in a good way. It's like I feel unfulfilled. I've been blue-balled by this show.
Yeah.
So spoilers.
Yeah.
Let's jump into spoilers.
Now it's spoiler time. Spoiler zone. Spoiler webs. Whatever.
But it's for me, it's a thing where I was really enjoying the first like 6 episodes. And I felt like I really liked that it was just kind of just a law show for a while. Mm-hmm. I liked that part of it. I liked that it wasn't focusing on Daredevil.
He doesn't really become Daredevil for a good long while in the show.
And I really liked that. I thought that was a strong choice to like just focus on this other aspect of Matt's life before inevitably it falls apart, which I kind of knew it was because they were really getting as much as they could out of the lawyer stuff.
We're also seeing him post his life falling completely apart too, because like the opening episode, Foggy just fucking dies.
Jesse was live messaging, like DMing me about how upset he was.
It's devastating. He was one of the best parts of the original show.
But it wasn't. It's that, and it's also just that it was.
The worst thing that happens in the show in execution.
I would say it's the worst thing I've ever seen in a Marvel thing ever.
Oh.
I've never been
I think that's
mad.
very emotionally driven.
Yeah. That has to be, because have you seen the Eternals?
I haven't.
Okay.
I was going to put an asterisk and say I haven't seen the Eternals. But it's
actually not that bad. It's just very middling.
Yeah. I've never been mad about a Marvel thing before. And so this is my, I'm pretty chill.
You got nerd rage.
Yeah.
You finally get it.
Because if they had done it in a good way, it would be totally different. But the CGI was bad. And it was also like the first 2 or 3 minutes were excellent. I was so excited. The cinematography is great. We get to see all our friends together. I was so excited.
You can tell that budget definitely went, where budget went at times. And
it's the one place where you can see the seams of the first team and the second team. Because apparently there were showrunners who made the first 6 episodes. Then there was a new showrunner that was brought in to change those episodes and then finish off this.
So get some like reshoots in there and like fix some stuff that they would later pay off.
And part of the reshoots, to my knowledge, take it with whatever grain of salt is necessary. To my knowledge, part of those reshoots were adding Bullseye to the part where Foggy dies.
That's crazy.
Bullseye was straight up not in that part, period.
Because like the action beats there where he's like throwing the cutlery at like Matt, and
part of why it looks so shitty is that the reason that's the only action scene that's so CGI heavy is because it was all post. They didn't have that set anymore, I don't think. Well, they must have had the set. I don't know. They brought in the CG fog.
Areas, so.
They brought in the CG fog. They tried to do a oneer that didn't work, and I believe all that stuff was added in post.
Yeah, you can't. have a show that is famous for the hallway scene and then do a way, way, way worse hallway scene. Like,
I think that is by far 100% the worst few minutes of the show is that fight.
Yeah, no,
because I think it was dog shit.
Yeah, no, I'm really easy to impress with superhero stuff. And they gave us, like, I was so excited for the show because, again, they gave us a few minutes of, like, this is so cool. I'm so excited that our friends are all together again. And then they kill him. And then it proceeds to be, like, 9 minutes of just the worst shit I've seen. And I've never been mad before. I'm so easy to please.
Maybe I was like kind of like in the background, or maybe like I was high off my ass, but I didn't mind it too much. I kind of enjoyed.
You should watch it again.
Probably won't. Not for a while, anyway.
That's also good. I think the decision to watch it again would hurt you.
Well, yeah, because like all the other action scenes are pretty good.
Yeah, they lean into the brutality.
And they're people doing action, which is so like that's part of why it's so jarring that like they open the show on this really shitty action scene with like a bunch of CGI that does not work.
Yeah. Because it's like the first thing that you're going to see of the show, and this is going to convince you to watch the rest of the show. So I stopped watching the show. I was really sad.
I had to tell Jesse,
keep going.
Literally right after that, it becomes very good.
Yeah, and I watched it like a maniac because I was watching a few minutes at a time, and then I kept getting angry.
That's
and
how
stopping.
you watch movies too, apparently.
But that's not on purpose, right? Because I'm editing or something.
Gotcha.
I put it on a second screen. This I had to convince myself. I was like, well, everyone can't be wrong. You know, if they say that the show gets good, I have to give it a chance. But I just kept watching and being like, and then I would watch a few more minutes, and then Karen and Matt are sad that Foggy's dead. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this, and I stopped watching.
And then all of a sudden, then after the credits, it's like a year time skip or something like that, months-long time skip. Karen's gone, Matt's got a whole new relationship, new law partner going. And it just kind of becomes this like law drama where he's one of the benefits.
I really liked that.
Yeah, one of the benefits of Matt Murdock, Daredevil as a character, is he doesn't have to be in costume to to still be Daredevil.
Yeah,
and they're actually they're still keeping like sort of the tone of the Netflix stuff, but they're incorporating in the larger Marvel universe more concretely. So there's a guy with a magic amulet who's White Tiger, who goes around New York City saving people. And when he doesn't have the amulet, he doesn't have superpowers and like all this stuff, and they just sort of accept it at face value. And he's seriously like defending him in a legal case.
Yeah.
And you just spend a good portion of the show focused on he's a lawyer.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what if Frank Castle wasn't a crazy bastard? They're kind of like playing into season 2 of Daredevil with that. Like, let's defend this guy who was he's accused of vigilantism, and it turns out he is a vigilante.
Yeah. And I could already feel at that point that like they're really milking as much as they can out of the lawyer stuff, which tells me there's going to be a point where he can no longer be a lawyer. Because you wouldn't be this focused on it if you weren't like, okay, we're not going to get another chance for a while.
He's playing that same balance that he did kind of throughout the Netflix series, where he's trying to be on the right side of the law. Like after Foggy died, he's like, no, I need to approach this all from his side of the law. I need to honor Foggy's memory like that. But then he realizes as things go on, Wilson Fisk gets gets elected mayor by the end of the second episode. He's like, okay, clearly I can't. Clearly you got to go from both sides of the law on this one. I can't just tackle all this because you got cops with Punisher tattoos, which I think was kind of a brilliant way to set that up. Because while they all have that Punisher tattoo marking, the audience sees it. Matt would never know those tattoos are there.
Yeah, he can't notice.
Yeah. That's a really cool, because like you think about like, okay, what are a superhero's strengths and weaknesses? Him as a person, him as the hero, whatever. Yeah, and that's really cool. That it's like, it's something he doesn't know until someone would tell him.
It's something he would miss every time because like he can hear somebody like with malicious intent walking down a hallway carrying a gun, ready to attack like an informant. But he doesn't know that they're inked up, that they each have like this little symbol on them that lets you know, like, we're a part of the Punisher Club.
And I was genuinely shocked when like, they're going there. They're going to address all the freak cops who have Punisher logos and do terrible things.
Yeah, no, as someone who lived in New York for so long, it feels incredible seeing this plot line play out because, I lived on Staten Island for so long. There are so many people with Punisher logos on their cars that I'm like, do you understand? Do you know have you read a comic? Do you know you're not the Punisher.
You know he's against police corruption, right?
Right. There are so many people who are in certain.
And they have exclusively the villain reference like the thin blue line as a positive.
Yeah,
like
no, I was
only
like,
the villain.
I was like, whoa, we're saying it. Okay,
Speaking
cool.
of Staten Island, like the kind of chubbly looking wormy guy.
As soon as he showed up, I was like, I'm from Staten Island. I was laughing so hard.
I love it. We should all collectively make fun of Staten Island more as someone who lived on Staten Island for a long time.
Just that allegory for the Weasley little MAGA bro who's trying to snake his way up the gears of power.
And of course he's from Trash Island. He has to be from Trash
We
Island.
live on Trash Island. It's so funny that it's the most Staten Island thing you can do is just keep bringing up that you're from Staten Island.
They did a perfect job casting that guy too. He just has that look.
I need him to show up with a bag that is slightly wet on the bottom of bagels. I need him to just be carrying that around. He's like, want to go for some ices? Do you want to go for some water ice?
And he's still trying to be accepted by his peers. One of which is, I guess, the granddaughter of
the niece, I believe.
A niece?
Yeah, both of the girls are nieces.
Okay. Yeah. The niece of the oh god, what was his name?
Ben Urich.
Ben Urich from season 1.
She's BB Urich now.
Yeah, BB Urich.
Baby.
And she's like a street documentarian.
And that was one of my complaints about the first season of Daredevil, is that you wasted Ben Urich. He's so important in the comics.
Yeah.
And this actor was so amazing for him, and you wasted the character on one death.
Wasn't he played by Paul Giamatti or something in the Ben Affleck one? I can't
No,
remember.
he's played by Joey Pants.
Joey Pants.
But yeah, he was Joey Pants.
Go get Joey Pants.
But yeah, so Staten Island douche bro is still friends. He's trying to be friends with all these liberal compatriots because they're cool, they're happening, but now he's near the levers of power, and so he offers her this inroad to all of these stories that she wants to be able to break. So there's this delicate balancing act going on with every single one of the characters between vigilantism and law and politics versus morality versus benefit.
Yeah, and I really do enjoy. I love law shows, and I love that kind of aspect of this season. So, because I hate being negative. I'm never negative about things, but this affected me in such a way that I was like,
it was a bad opening, and that led into a very good pilot.
Yeah.
Once you got past that first 10 minutes.
It's really hard though, and I don't want to. I was so excited. I want to see Matt and all of the friends together. And you also brought up they shouldn't have. It seemed marketing wise Karen and Foggy were gonna be there, and I think that was bad.
They shouldn't have misled the audience like that.
Yeah.
On one hand, you get that shock cinema moments, with, I mean, it certainly backfired with The Last of Us Part 2, but you do that sometimes, where it's you sell somebody one thing, it's aha, gotcha, but now aren't you intrigued?
I think I would have sold a show that doesn't have them in at all, surprise people with them showing up, then they're like, oh, they are here, but then, oh no, they're not here.
But then you have people like me that watch that and are like, why aren't they showing up in any of the promo material? Do they die? So,
yeah.
That's the way I read that shit.
I think that's better than false promises.
Fair.
Yeah, because that affected me in such a way I was not going to watch the show.
Because people feel betrayed by false promises.
Yeah. Because also that is a big part of why I liked the Netflix show is because you have this whole aspect of Matt being Daredevil, and then you also have him as a human interacting with friends and stuff. And I do, after watching the whole season, I do understand why Foggy had to die and why that's such a push and such a bold decision to make. But also, putting it right at the start when I thought we were all gonna hang out and be friends, it hurts in a way that isn't fun narratively to me. It hurts in a way
because you were lied to.
Yeah.
You're promised a show you're not getting.
It is interesting that the show does kind of just sprint out the gate, though. Boom, best friend's gone, time skip. Wilson Fisk is almost immediately elected mayor. There's no I thought, at least for a bit, in the first bit of promo material we saw where he's talking to Daredevil, it's okay, so they're going the Wilson Fisk becomes mayor route. I thought we'd at least have a bit of the election stuff going on before.
But also,
it just kind of happens.
But it also seemed like it was sort of a recall election. like a sort of spur of the moment, like the mayor's being
Yeah, but I
unseated.
figured we get like an episode, at least an episode of him campaigning.
Yeah, I don't mind that they didn't, because I think it is more interesting to just show him being mayor and what he does.
Yeah, because it's also like, if I were to see a bunch of stuff, I'm like, we know he's gonna get elected. We know where this
Because
is
why
going. Let's just cut
would
right
you
to
why
it,
would you
know?
bring that up and have it not happen?
Yeah.
So having it happen by the end of the pilot, I think, is a good choice.
It's the natural conclusion, but I thought there'd be some like shady dealings in the background, like him making his opponent drop out or something.
what I
like, you know,
thought
that's
too,
that's
yeah.
what I figured was.
But
going to
it's good that
happen.
they didn't do that, because it does have that sort of thing of like, okay, well, is he being genuine? Does he? It's not will he be a bad guy? Of course he is. It's does he believe he's going to be a good guy?
That's true,
and that's
yeah.
left in the air.
Yeah, and I think deep down there is parts of him that are like, yeah, no, I want to make this city better, but I want it to be better for me.
Yeah, and I think the conclusion is that he was fooling himself. He was always going to do this, but I think he partially thought that was not true.
Yeah, it starts off with like his entire plot is just to kind of get this shipping bay, this dock.
Red Hook.
Yeah, the Red Hook dock.
My bae, Vanessa.
Yeah, where he's been like, you know, shipping in materials for like, you know, his criminal empire for who knows how long. And he wants to, like, you know, rebuild it, make it great again, I guess. And
Yeah.
Pulling out a random phrase no one said again.
Yeah, nobody's ever
We'll
said
make it great
before.
again.
Yeah. And so, like, his whole agenda is like, okay, we're going to clean up the city. He uses the vigilantes, one, because he knows that the vigilantes are going to be the thing that take him down if something's going to take him down. So he makes them the other. Like, he says, like, oh, we need to stop these vigilantes and making it illegal. And then the whole White Tiger trial happens. He gets acquitted, but then somebody, like, a corrupt cop immediately, like, shoots him in the fucking head.
Yeah, he immediately gets ganked. And it is a thing where also, though, last year, unfortunately, that actor passed away.
Oh, man.
So it's also hard to tell, like, was that the plan? It worked out, like, they made it work if it was the plan. I don't want to say it worked out because a man died. But, like, they made it work if that wasn't the plan. If it was the plan, then they made it work as well. But it's just one of those hanging questions for me because the actor unfortunately passed away last year.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's so, like, it's one of those things where, like, you know what?
Yeah, because his death is very, like, unceremonious, but
Yeah.
like it's also what kind of adds to the impact. He's just kind of like walking down the street.
Yeah,
I
I think
a
they
guy in a
handled it
Punisher
well.
shirt walks up, shoots him in the head, and keeps walking.
Yeah, I think they handled it well, and if that wasn't intended, they did a very good pivot. And if it was intended, it's, you know, just unfortunate the actor passed away.
Yeah, and it's-
But
Yeah, he's incredible.
He did
so
a great
sad.
job, yeah.
Like, obviously, whether someone's a good actor or not, that doesn't affect whether they should die or not.
It
But I'm
feels
like,
like a thing where
he was
this
so
could
good.
have been a leapfrog to more work for the guy.
Yeah, and that's like one of the subplots in the show. Like there are several like little mini arcs that Matt goes through,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have like an overarching arc in this show. It feels like.
And I think now's a good time to touch on the weakest one by far is Muse.
Yeah, like Muse is a creepy villain, and like they kind
I
of
liked it as something in the background. I didn't like it in the foreground.
Yeah, because they were treating Muse like Mindhunters treated BTK for a while, like where he would kind of like sandwich the episode a little bit, like
Yeah.
he'd be like, okay, now this creepy guy is stealing people's blood, and
I did rewatch some of the early episodes, and it's very rewarding actually to go back and realize, oh, all the graffiti was Muse.
Yeah.
Like from the very beginning, they were showing Muse's graffiti, and that had blood on it the entire time. Like,
Yeah.
that was made of blood the entire time, and that's creepy and kind of neat.
But as soon as he hit the foreground, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like they really sped through his story.
You
Like,
could
once-
tell they were as uninterested as I felt once he was like in the foreground. It's like, and like when he got away after capturing the girl, I was like, oh, there's gonna be more of him.
Yeah,
I was good
and-
with what we got,
and then they
Yeah, yeah.
immediately revealed who he is and killed him.
and then killed him. In the next episode, it's like, okay, well, why? I thought
it's-
the episode that we had where he ran away, it would have been great to just end him there.
and it's like they do give it that little edge of it's Matt's girlfriend, his new girlfriend, who's a therapist, who I guess is also
Who's the
being
worst therapist on the planet?
She's not great.
And she encourages everybody to kill people.
But I do love that for Matt. It's so funny to go from Catholic guilt to being like, I realized once she started talking with him about his feelings, I'm like, oh, this is actually very good for you, Matt. You do need to talk to a therapist.
Unfortunately, you're probably going to end up murdering somebody by the end of this show.
Yeah,
that's all she
her whole takeaway
encourages.
is she's talking to this serial killer, and he's clearly displaying signs of "I want to serial kill you," and so Matt shows up as Daredevil, saves her. She doesn't realize it's Matt,
and also
because she's the only person that doesn't know he's Daredevil, I guess.
And also, I should note at one point she's like, "Everyone who wears a mask is a coward," and I went, "Okay, this is what we're doing."
Yeah.
Not interested in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that was weird to me.
I didn't believe in their relationship from the start, and the show never made me believe in it.
And again, the first thing that made me really sigh was episode 7. With that moment where I'm like, oh, we're doing this. Okay. And I'll say, that's also apparently where this full switch happened between the showrunners.
Okay,
and that's what kind of worries me.
Because she immediately goes into the background and kind of falls into Wilson Fisk's pocket because he's anti-vigilante, and after getting attacked by a serial killer and saved by a vigilante, she's also anti-vigilante.
Yeah, and
that doesn't make sense.
Her dialogue was like, "I was attacked by this guy in Daredevil. Daredevil saved you. You weren't there, Matt.
Yeah,
I saved myself." Bitch.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to me. I didn't get to
it's weird,
process it. And I'm only realizing now.
She went from a character I kind of non-committally generally liked to one that was annoying very quickly, because I got that they were pushing her into an antagonistic role with him, where I didn't feel that before, and so I was just like, oh, well, this is weird. I like the actor because I liked what she was doing in the first 6 episodes, but now I don't like the character. Because you're kind of pushing her in this direction that feels very
unnatural,
weird, and you're rubbing up against other stuff that was here. And to be fair to the new showrunner, it could just be growing pains, and they had a lot to inherit.
And they did reintroduce Karen in the final episode.
Yeah, and I do think episode 9 is better than episode 7 and 8.
Yeah, no, I loved if I could just watch the good parts of episode 1. And the bank robbery, and then the last episode. I liked these individual
Apparently,
things.
a lot of people didn't like the bank robbery
That's
thing.
so weird.
It was good.
It was
really good.
It's my favorite episode of the show, the bank robbery episode.
TV show thing is the most superhero thing, and I miss real TV.
It's so fun.
It was much more Monster of the Week, and the fact that it was just Matt dealing with a random thing with Camilla Khan's dad.
And I loved that. I loved that it was just an episode of television.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Miss Marvel.
I haven't
Magic
either.
Marvel. I don't even know.
I haven't seen
the
it.
I put 2 and 2 together when I realized this guy is acting a lot, and then he mentioned Ms. Marvel, and he mentioned his last name's Khan. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
2 and 2.
I pieced it together because there was I saw what I thought was
he had a fake pop
figure.
cap.
Yeah, and then the more he started talking, I was like, oh, you're someone. Actually, you're someone I just don't know. Cool.
Yeah,
Fun.
and then they kept talking about his daughter Kamala.
Yeah,
I want to say Kamala, but apparently they pronounce it Kamala.
Right. I'm like, oh,
different
shit.
name. It's a different person's name.
And so I actually liked that episode a lot because he wasn't Daredevil that episode. He was just Matt Murdock, Superman.
Yeah.
It was just a good episode of TV, and I miss just solid episodes of episodic television.
Yeah. He was just there foiling a bank heist, and then he caught the guy at the end.
Yeah. That said, I think part of why I prefer the good parts of this show to in terms of just straight up drama than the Netflix show is that show felt like it was for teens and up, and this feels like an actual show for adults.
The Netflix show was much more of an action show.
Yeah, and and I love action, but I like how much this show digs into ideas and characters.
Yeah, this leans further into drama territory,
like a genuine drama.
And then
show
every now and again you have a pretty good action scene.
Yeah, and I'll take pretty good action and better drama, and which I think a lot of this was. I think it's unfortunately soured by episodes 7 and 8, which kind of undercut some of the good drama we were getting in all the episodes prior.
Yeah, as it dramatically shifted towards what it wanted its new, I guess, sort of conclusion to be.
Yeah, which
as they're setting up for the I guess Punisher series that they announced, and I guess a season 2.
They announced a
Daredevil.
Punisher TV movie essentially.
Yeah, like a special.
And apparently that's part of the Daredevil episode order. So there's going to be a Punisher thing, self-contained thing.
Cool.
Which I guess is what the end scene was.
Mm-hmm.
That end post-credit scene, that was the mid-credit scene, that was nothing. and so I guess that's setting up. Yeah, Punisher is gonna do some stuff.
Yeah. The part that I felt like they that one dude from Better Call Saul.
Yes. I
Who,
forget his-
like, I absolutely, like, he's a fantastic actor. I love him. And he was in Hawkeye as the swordsman, you know.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And now, and like, I guess he's also like uber wealthy, and he and Fisk were butting heads, and I guess somehow he just got locked in Fisk's gulag. Because like in the final episode, in the final stretch, where they're like playing that little musical number and showing, you know, and Fisk's like winning, eating in his weird little gulag dungeon with his wife in front of his
Therapy
blood
really
painting.
works, guys.
It's working. It was good. It was good. You know what? That therapy worked for psychos. He's just
It
gonna
fixed
sit-
their
he's just-
marriage.
He's just sitting there in chains. It's like, I feel like somebody, like his wife, would know he's missing. Where's Kate Bishop in all this now? Like, she dealt with like Kingpin.
Which I mean, that might be what they're setting up. Is that
Maybe?
like it feels like they're definitely like hinting towards we want to do a Marvel Knights thing, like Defenders or Marvel Knights. I'm not sure which.
Because this. Like, that last episode was fucking bloody, man. Like, Wilson, like,
They
Kingpin
got
rips the
gory.
jaw off a dude.
That was full on horror movie gore effects.
Yeah, I remember watching that sitting down. I was like, okay, so he's gonna like pop his head. Oh, okay. No,
Yeah, I
like,
thought it was gonna pop like a melon.
You as someone who appreciates practical gore effects, I'm
yeah,
sure
I was
that
like,
was a treat
oh
for you.
shit. I'm like, I didn't see that coming. Like, you know, I know that Deadpool and Wolverine is on Disney Plus, so it's not like they're, you know, anti-violence entirely. But this is the first time in one of the Marvel shows that I'm like, oh shit, yeah, no, they went with
Oh,
it.
so fuck! Oh, god.
Yeah.
Damn.
Because that's unfortunately also part of why I didn't like the Muse stuff, is because I like to eat when I watch TV, and a lot of his stuff you can't really eat when you're watching it because there's blood being taken. There's that.
You don't like fluids like that?
Not while I'm eating, you know. I can deal with it if I'm watching a horror movie or if I'm watching something like this passively. But if I got something in my mouth, I don't.
Blood's
think
fine with me, but like it's a thing where I just was bored by him.
It's that, yeah, and it's
Yeah,
also
but-
just that scene of, you know, when he's kicking the shit out of the therapist. It sucks to watch. It's like a lot.
That was genuinely uncomfortable in a way where it's like, why are we just lingering on this? Like, yes, it's
Yeah.
bad.
No,
I
he's
get
a
it.
bad guy. You gotta really want Daredevil to help.
We didn't see him trying to drain a girl of all her blood in the last episode.
Right.
Or
But now-
second to last.
But
Yeah.
now he's doing it live, and
And now it's live. No, because it's also it's. I had to skip through honestly because it was a lot. It was taking blood from her, kicking the shit out of her. It was a lot. It was like if you piece all of the shit together, I was bored, and also it wasn't fun to watch. So I just kind of
Bored and uncomfortable. Bad combination.
bad combination.
But yeah, like I definitely think we all seem to agree. Episodes 7 and 8 are like the weakest ones of this season. Like it's just like a real low point.
it
seems like
was
it.
middling, especially after episode 6. Just kind of left me with like, oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
7's definitely the worst one.
I can't even remember what really happens in 7.
That's the one that
It's
where
just
Muse
more,
dies.
yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the Muse one, and more
then-
like political intrigue.
And then 8's a little better because it has the Poindexter stuff, and then the ending with the
Yeah.
but it also has like Matt being like, I'm grumpy, and his girlfriend being like, I don't like that.
Well, you should come to this benefit charity gala with me.
And he's like,
jackass.
Why don't you want to party?
And he's like, Kingpin's bad, obviously. And she's like, what are you talking about?
What do you mean? He was only in prison for horrible crimes.
he and
He
his wife-
only killed a bunch of cops.
He and his
Why?
wife have only been in therapy with me, definitely referencing that people are murdered under their orders.
Yeah, that's what makes it so unbelievable to me. It's like if I was dating someone and all like the evidence, this, and that. If my boyfriend was like, "Hey, I got
It was
really
a
bad
known
vibes,"
thing in
you know-
general.
you know-
lawyer.
He's been in prison for this.
Yeah.
You know that I put him in prison, right?
Yeah.
I was part of the legal team that got the evidence to put him away.
Yeah, it's like, why am I dating this guy if I'm so antagonistic to him in all of these ways? It's just kind of weird. It's just kind of weird.
And she wasn't for the first 6 episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's one of
It's
things
just
where, like,
weird.
I'm giving the showrunners.
It's that balance, like it's that balance between morality and being powerful, like being close to the levers of power. Because he offers her a position in his cabinet, and she's
Yeah.
like, yes.
Yes, I will convince the entire city to murder. But it's a thing where I want to give the new showrunner the benefit of the doubt because like, you know, it's hard to jump into someone else's project partway through.
Totally, yeah.
And also, and like then have to course correct to what you were hired to make. That was not what they were making.
We've all seen the new Star Wars movies.
And we've all seen the original cut of Justice League.
Like that's a rough job. And I think the new showrunner made a very smart decision, being like, well, obviously, if Foggy is going to get murdered by somebody, it needs to be Bullseye, the important character who kills people.
I would be sitting here even madder if it was a random
if it was
guy.
like some random.
Yeah, if it was just one of the Punisher cops.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it wasn't Poindexter at some point.
Yeah, it should have been Bullseye the whole time.
Yeah,
the fact that it wasn't is wild.
Daredevil's like one of his greatest nemesis.
But also, I do like the show that existed for those first 6 episodes. There's a lot of good stuff in here.
Yeah, you know what? Bringing up all this, like, bullet pointing, Poindexter's in this one, this and that. Foggy, this stuff happens in the first episode, and all this stuff happens in the last episode, where Frank is in the first episode and the last episode. Carrot is in first, last. It feels weird, doesn't it? I don't know what I'm trying to communicate right now, but the bookends feel like a show I would watch, and then the middle, besides the bank robbery, it just, I like law shows, but it didn't feel cohesive.
It kind of meanders. Like I said, it feels like a lot of those episodes just kind of run together like some weird mosaic.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. It's just, they aren't incredibly memorable.
That's what it is, yeah. I'm having trouble distinguishing what's in episode 4, what's in episode whatever. It's all just kind of together.
Like,
in
I
my
know
head.
what happened in the show, but I can't tell you what happened episode per episode, except for episode 6, 1, and 9.
Yeah, well, I will say I found myself really gripped by the legal drama stuff. I was really into that, actually,
and I didn't mind it. It's just like, to me, it meandered.
To me, it was a breath of fresh air, because I'm kind of sick of Cape shit lately.
That's fair.
That's fair. Yeah.
That said, I am also interested in the show they're making, clearly, come season 2, which is to say, second half of season 1.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do moving forward, because obviously, like, street level vigilantism is kind of like the core to this and the plot moving forward, especially with where they leave off. It'll be. I wonder if they'll put enough money in Tom Holland's pocket to make him show up for a cameo.
That's the main thing I want.
Right?
That's the main thing I want to
that.
discuss. We have to talk about who the team is. Like, who's going to join the army.
I can definitely
against
see
Kingpin.
Miss Marvel being there.
Miss Marvel has been foreshadowed. Spider-Man's been a little foreshadowed. They're like, maybe.
Punisher's
nice.
obviously got his own thing going, but I feel like it's going to
Punisher,
be his own thing. I wonder if they'll bring back Jessica Jones and Luke Cage.
I think they have to. They have to bring back Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and I think also they should bring back Danny Rand and try to fix his character.
Try to fix Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Honestly, when he's not in Iron Fist, he's fine. Like, his one scene in Luke Cage was fine.
I think what they need to do is either bring him back and have him be humbled, or bring him back and make him kind of a spoiled brat who everybody is sick of.
That's what he
And
was.
then he
That's
gets
what he
humbled.
was in The Defenders, though.
I guess, yeah.
we gotta calm him down. We smoke weed now.
One of my favorite, but like, The Defenders wasn't a great show, but I did enjoy his interactions with Luke Cage, and I really realized that, like,
And
they were leaning into Heroes for Hire.
Oh, yeah,
just
like-
do it.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, like, right now, last time Luke Cage was left off, he was running a criminal empire.
Oh God, yeah.
Now that's very helpful in this specific context.
You're right. That's so funny. Yeah. You know what?
And then they can have that empire fall apart for some reason, or have Luke Cage be like, actually, this isn't how I should do things.
I can't remember where they left Jessica Jones at the end of her second season.
She was Jessica Jones, whatever.
She is just Jessica Jones. Like, her entire thing just kind of fell apart after
I stopped
after
watching
Tenet stopped.
mid-season 2.
I love Jessica Jones, so I kept watching, even though it was getting a little.
David Tennant was
Shitty.
like one of the better parts of that whole
Yeah.
thing.
But Black Cat, is that the name of her sister that becomes a superhero?
I think it's Jewel or something.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Black Cat is a Spider-Man character.
True. I guess if they're all in Marvel, I thought like maybe it's a coincidence they both have
I
the
think
same
her
name,
hero
but-
character was Jewel.
Oh, she's a cat. Something to do with a cat.
Truly outrageous.
I don't know.
But she goes to jail. But I would love to bring her back because I love that actress, the Australian who
Yeah,
plays
so
the
like,
sister.
you think they'll bring
Once
like
Upon a Time
since
lady?
I mean,
Might be.
other members of the team. It feels like Swordmaster is going to be one of them.
Yeah,
because he's in the
they keep
jail,
touching on him.
which means
I
that
totally
Kate
forgot.
Bishop might be in there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they had to shoehorn in his name because, like, in the Hawkeye show, he's just shown to be very proficient with a sword. Like, he fences a dude. It's like, ha 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 ha.
I need to rewatch it because I totally forget he was in it.
He's an actor. I don't know if they said that he was swordsman in the show.
They
Hawkeye.
did not.
But that's what he. There's a character named Swordsman from the comics that he is.
Oh,
He's just really good with a sword.
cool. Okay.
That's his deal.
I love that actor, so I'm for it. You know.
And so the superhero team. We
Yeah.
the Marvel. I think they would call it Marvel Knights because it's still applicable. It's still a team that Daredevil
And it's a
put
brand.
together.
Yeah.
And it's a brand that's not the Defenders, which was kind of tainted by the Defenders being really bad. So
And sorry, real quick, did they confirm the Jessica Jones show?
that there's a new one.
Yeah.
No, not that I know of.
No, that's why it would be a surprise if she did show up.
Oh, I thought Kristen, what's her name, shared something on Instagram.
She might have said
was
that like she was like talking with people or something.
Yeah,
but
it's,
I don't know if anything's been confirmed.
I wouldn't be surprised
It could have been.
if
I
it
just
isn't
don't
a
know.
conversation.
Okay.
So it's saying like obviously Daredevil, Punisher would be involved. Karen will be around.
Swordsman,
Swordsman probably.
maybe Ms. Marvel. Although
Ms.
they
Marvel.
did say that she's like all the way over in San Francisco, probably working. I actually
Yeah, I
never
don't
saw
know.
the Marvels.
I
Either,
didn't
so I don't know where
see the
that
Marvels
ended.
either. But
Oh, right, that was
the
a movie
girl,
with
the
the three of
girl,
them,
the
right?
girl's gonna take up the mantle of White Tiger.
Oh.
Yeah, if they.
That's what she's being set up for.
Yeah, if they
Cool,
go
cool.
that direction.
She's a character who has been White Tiger before.
Yeah? Okay, awesome.
In the comics.
Yeah,
And
I
Luke Cage, obviously. Jessica
I'd
Jones, if they want to. I think
maybe
they want.
maybe Iron Fist.
I think they need to bring back Iron Fist. I think they should also bring back what's her name? Oh, man.
The second Iron Fist?
Henwick.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
Second Iron Fist.
the woman who is in the show with him.
Yeah.
Who's like a much bigger actor now.
Jessica Henwick?
Oh, yeah, it'll-
Yes, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was in that show.
But it would
I
be.
remember the actor name, and I don't know why.
But yeah, the big question mark is, will Spider-Man show up? Just as kind of like
Yes.
a tease for Spider-Man 4.
I think if he does, it would be like a thing where you do it in like a 2-part finale where he's hanging out for a while, but he can't like be part of it the whole time.
yeah,
Yeah.
otherwise he'd solve everybody's problem because he's fucking Spider-Man.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I mean, it is a thing where like even Spider-Man has often had problems dealing with Kingpin.
Oh, for sure, but still, he's Spider-Man, and everybody, like, nobody else there has superpowers.
But it's also a question of like and also Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight would work as well.
Oh,
It'd be
I
weird to
forgot.
bring him in because his deal is more globe-trotting.
But he's a member of Marvel Knights, and he's often a street level guy.
Oh.
Like it was more globetrotting in the show, but like he's been street level
I
in the
guess.
comics.
I don't know.
plenty.
I don't know nearly enough about that. Is this finally where we'll get Blade?
Blade is also a member of Marvel Knights.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that was more of like a comic, like that was our Marvel brand, more so of just showing like this is the more mature Marvel comics.
yeah, but it was a team that Daredevil put together. So, but like there's also a question of like, okay, if Kingpin wants to face off against these guys though, who does he bring in? Are we gonna get Hammerhead? Are we gonna get
Tombstone.
like Tombstone? Like, are we gonna get like all these like sort of street level
Yeah,
superpower
the
guys?
street level supervillains.
Are we gonna get another Shocker?
I was just thinking, shocker!
Yeah, another shocker.
I mean, there's always another Shocker.
All they have to do is wear the oven mitt suit.
Like there's also like,
Maybe we'll finally get Donald Glover as Prowler. Just
yeah.
because they teased that in
now,
the first Spider-Man
yeah.
movie.
I don't think so. I think they would just put that in a Spider-Man movie. But
I mean, they did that in like they kind of teased it in Spider-Verse.
yes.
So.
But I think they save it for a movie, like for him being in a movie. But there's lots of street level crime focused villains. So I think
Maybe we'll finally get the bar with no name.
yeah. So like it's a thing where like they are setting up like they want to do something bigger with Daredevil, which I am in support of. I guess She-Hulk also could be involved.
Yeah, honestly, I want her to show up. That'd be great. I love
I
Tatiana Maslany.
half expected her to get a cameo in this show somewhere.
Right.
Just attorney.
She's,
I think
yeah, she's a lawyer and she's canonically fucked Matt. I think she should show
just
up.
because she's a CGI character, she's too visually distinct from the style of the show.
Yeah, I don't think she would have fit in this, but like if they had a second one-off episode.
Yeah, it's like a thing where Matt fits in her world, she does not fit in his world. So it's a thing where like totally cool with other characters crossing over to her thing, but her coming into this would feel weird.
That's kind of why
just
I want
because
it.
she's CG.
Yeah, no, it's
If it was just Tatiana
visually-
Maslany, it'd be great.
That's what I think it would be, and unfortunately, that would be like boring. But I'd love for her to just show up as doesn't transform, just like.
And I guess I
lawyer.
didn't watch the She-Hulk show. Is she always She-Hulk, or does she like go in and out of the form?
She goes in and out.
Okay,
Yeah,
then I think it could work. then.
She-Hulk can control her hulking out.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
then
might actually like I need to rewatch it, but you might like the show because it is a lot of law stuff.
I like the showrunner,
But it's more like Ally McBeal kind of law as opposed to Law and
fair.
Order kind of
Yeah.
law.
Yeah, it's less like serious, but I enjoy Marvel stuff exploring lawyer stuff.
I have like been interested in watching it, but I just also have been sick of Marvel stuff. So I'm an
Yeah,
exception for this show.
This is
Yeah,
this is the first Marvel show I've watched probably since Moon Knight, unless Hawkeye came out after it. I can't even remember.
I think
don't-
Hawkeye was before?
I
Question
don't
mark?
remember.
Yeah,
I
hard to say.
really-
Either way, this is the first one I've watched.
I
in a
didn't
while.
finish
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Oh.
I stopped watching before Kingpin even showed up, and I heard Kingpin was in it, and I was like, I don't really give a shit, actually. I got bored. I got bored in the episode where Yelena showed up. I was just like, whatever.
I needed like a break from Marvel stuff, so I understand.
Now that said, I am excited for the Thunderbolts. Like the more I've heard about that, the more I'm like, you know what? Let's give this a shake.
I'm not excited, but I'm willing to give it a chance.
I hope it's good. Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll talk about that when it comes out.
Maybe.
Yeah, after everybody tells us that we hated Daredevil so much because we have critiques.
I said multiple times, I actually like
Yeah,
it
no,
a lot.
we've said we liked it, but we have critiques, so we hate it. That's how videos on the internet work, Stephan. We hate things that we critique.
You either hate things, or you're in the pocket of Marvel.
I just remember saying that we came out of like Sonic 3 liking it and had like critiques about it being a family/children's movie, and people were like, why'd they hate Sonic?
I did also have a title of the video.
It's true.
It's for babies.
That's on you. That's on you.
Now, I think it's hilarious that it pissed people off. And I think if you were mad about that, that's really funny
I saw
to me.
people in the Warriors of Virtue like comment saying like, "Oh, they like this, but they hated Sonic." What are you on about? There's no world where
You're not disproving the theory that that Sonic 3 is for babies when you act like a baby.
there is no world where Sonic 3 is a worse movie than Warriors of Virtue.
No. It was
It's
better.
a way better movie. But
It was
there's
less
things
interesting, but it was better.
Yeah, but there are things like janky things to enjoy in Warriors of Virtue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll
Better, like good and interesting are not necessarily the same thing.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's my little rant.
I'll say something I really like about Daredevil. We built this city is so fucking
It was
funny.
such a good joke.
It's such a good joke.
There's so many weird needle drops
Yeah,
in the
that
show.
was intentionally funny. We should talk about how a lot of needle drops in the show are unintentionally
killing
funny.
him softly in the last
it was
episode.
I can't tell if that's supposed to be funny.
I don't think
Like it
little?
felt like they were trying to be poignant, maybe a little like tongue in cheek with it. It had to be, right?
I think they should do less needle drops because they're bad at it. Because also, I think the one at the end of the pilot, as good as like that ending was, the song was not helping me. I thought the song was funny.
Oh
No. Was that the one that they used at the end of the pilot?
Oh no, I don't remember.
At the end of the pilot, they played a song that made me laugh. That it was playing.
I seem to remember that too. I can't remember what it was.
Like
Me
I mean,
neither.
look, since James Gunn is so good at needle drops, everybody tries to emulate that. It's like him and Edgar Wright. Those are the two guys that I will always trust with a good needle drop.
Well, and, like, yeah, there's lots of people who can do a needle drop, but like they keep putting in ones that make me laugh when they're not supposed to. It's happened like also at the end of episode 3, I think there was the one where like Matt goes ah, and then they play like a punk rock song, and it was really funny. And I don't think it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah, if they leaned into the humor, because we know they can do it, because the
Yeah.
Kingpin stuff, I really love the idea of him being like, I'm gonna become mayor, and then he has to deal with the consequences of being mayor, which is
just a lot
showing
of
up at all
boring
these
shit to
events.
do.
Yeah, being like, no, that's okay, no more
When-
singing.
when he showed up to like the kids' choir, they're singing the song. He goes to the next event. It's people in a choir singing that exact same song. We built this city
In a different
but then,
language.
But then in like what was it, like Armenian or something? It was
Yeah, I don't
like
know. No, it was not Latveria.
Was it?
Yeah, there was they were talking about Latvian Day, like they're setting
Oh,
up
shit.
Latveria.
That's so
I
funny.
guess
That's-
Robert
that's-
Downey
that's-
Jr.'s out there somewhere still.
That's Doctor Doom's country is
Yeah.
Latveria.
Ah.
I also want to note.
Yeah, that was
at-
a good beat though.
Yeah,
Like,
I also
that was a funny needle drop.
I also want to note at the end of the finale, they should have it. It feels like they intended to end on just him being, "I love this city."
Yeah, so good.
That would have been a great ending, and instead they sort of like tacked on another ending.
Yeah, I was confused. I was preparing myself for the episode to end. I was about to start talking to you guys, and then it kept going, and I was like,
and the second ending, I get
Less good.
why it's there. It almost feels like they had Charlie Cox post Trump's election come in to record that monologue just to like leave people on maybe a more inspiring note than it
the
would have
dour
ended on.
ending, yeah.
which is fair.
And that's fair, and I think it's a pretty good little speech. But the stronger ending is the dour one.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and then we have our little mid-credit, which sets up the Punisher movie, where the dumbest guard on Earth, he's just like walking by, like, "Hey kid, you like my work, right? Yeah, Mr. Castle, I do.
You're a big boy. You're a strong
You're a
boy."
big, strong man. I love you. You want to shake my
has
hand?
sexy muscles.
Just come over to this cage and shake my hand. Okay.
Yeah, you also pointed out. You also pointed out, all his noises sound like he's like about to throw up.
I love his war brother.
I was talking about before how beautiful it is when I realized that all these guys wearing Punisher shit are about to infiltrate a house where the Punisher is there, and he's so pissed off at them. And I was like, this is gonna be so funny, and it was. I love every scene where the Punisher is talking to those fanboys.
Punisher said ACAB.
Yeah,
Yes,
you let
absolutely.
them, like, and it's so, we were talking before about the line of like, is this sad or is this good because I don't feel crazy? And those scenes were very cathartic to me, at least, to just hear the guys talking to him, and Frank is just quiet that whole time, and then he's like, "You fucking dipshits, you fucking idiots, you think you know who I am? You're a cosplay, you fucks.
You're a big, strong boy.
You don't even know what I believe, you dumb fucking idiots.
I love Frank. I missed Frank so much. Every time he shows up, I think he's gonna say a slur, but also be like,
he was so good in like
he's awesome.
Welcome home,
in
Frank.
the 2 episodes of this that he showed up in. He was great in both scenes. He's still not my favorite Punisher put to screen. That would probably still go to Ray
Really?
Stevenson in Warzone. Oh, he's so good.
I haven't seen it.
I guess. Well, I guess I will ask the question: Do you like that actor better as Punisher, or do you like the movie better?
A little both. I think as like first of all, I think Punisher fits himself better into a movie than a show, if I'm going to be honest. I think Punisher stories are better told as a 90-minute experience.
It also feels like the Punisher show was good for what it was, but maybe should have ended
It
at
meanders.
one season.
It like both seasons kind of meander a bit is my big issue. Like I don't mind the story that they tell, but yeah.
That's
also
interesting.
like I don't know, there's something about like maybe I'll have to show this movie to you guys, but Ray Stevenson as the Punisher is much more tactical, whereas this Punisher, even in like the episode that we just watched, just kind of walks bare balls into the middle of enemy territory without any sort of tag. Like he just walks headlong into them. It's like
He does.
Punisher wouldn't do that.
Well, I also think you should keep in mind that this Punisher, particularly in this show, I think is 100% suicidal.
That's
He
true.
wants to die.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but not in like the I'm going to walk dick first into enemy territory as they're staring at me levels of suicide. He's self-destructive, but he's still like, if he thinks that somebody needs to be punished, he'll make sure that they go down with him. Like he's going to plan some shit out, not walk dick first into enemy fire.
Maybe.
That's fair.
I do feel like this one in particular though is like he's okay. He's cool if he
I
dies.
like John Barathol. Like I think
Oh,
he
yeah.
is a great Punisher.
And he's been given the most leeway to explore a character.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle where it did feel weird that he just walked in without a plan or anything, but he is suicidal, so I'm like, I guess I'm more leaning towards that it was kind of weird.
fair.
that last episode when he did
But also,
that.
like, I think the whole 9th episode kind of feels kind of weird. Like, it sounded like we were wrapping up. Turns out we weren't.
just like the ending of the
Psych.
last episode.
Yeah, here's second wrap up.
I love this city.
But going back to what I was saying. What was I saying?
Barathol, Punisher.
Well, that's not enough.
Oh,
Daredevil.
Born Again, Daredevil, Marvel,
He was.
superheroes.
Oh damn. Oh fuck. I'm losing it. What was it?
So am I. Either way, at the end, I enjoyed the show overall. It does leave me wanting more. In some ways, like in a bad way, just because it felt like a half season, kind of like the way the second season of Squid Game made me feel, where it is a half season. Like the season that we like, part 2 of Squid Game is a half season.
I remember what I was gonna say. It was relevant to that. It was like this whole 9th episode kind of felt weird, like a weird, huge shift into a different show. So like the entire episode kind of felt a little weird. Like again, I think I prefer the first 2/3 of this season to the last third in general. Like there's good stuff in this last episode and stuff to look forward to, but it was a weird shift towards something that's not what the show was.
Yeah, I'll say as action go, episode 9 is probably the strongest, like one of the stronger ones in terms of action. And I don't know, like I'm equal parts kind of like frustrated where it ended, but also like, you know what? I want to see more of these characters. So.
I think by far the strongest action for me was at the end of season 3, episode 3, with his fight against the cops. I think that was by far the best action sequence.
I don't know, like the home invasion. I kind of like, you know, like there's good action beats throughout. I don't think like there are too many misses.
I love action, and I also miss, like, I really love Matt as a character. Matt really pops, but I really like him interacting with other fun characters, which is why I love him fighting with the Punisher and fighting alongside whatever.
Yeah, him and Punisher bickering is great.
Yeah, because I really, you know, they have a really strong, you know, I understand why they kind of fucking hate each other at a base level at this, you know, because like one of them is very for killing.
Your half measures, Red. Your half measures.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I get why they're arguing.
I also think Punisher, at least in this show, like he wants Matt to join him in the muck. He wants to not feel alone in what he does, and I think that's part of why he's so dedicated to getting Matt to kill somebody. Is that like he's
I need a friend. Do drugs with me.
Literally, I think that's it. I think he really wants him to join him in his way of doing things.
Yeah.
And it'll
like
make
we
him
both
feel.
agree on so much except this one thing.
And I think it'd make him feel like less of a bad person.
Yeah. It's believable.
I think that's what's going on in his head. I don't know if that's what the writers intend, but that's what I get out of it.
Well, Punisher already sees himself as a monster. He just sees himself as a necessary monster.
But I think he wants some camaraderie in that.
Yeah, and these seasons kind of like scratch that itch for me where I would have loved this season for Foggy to be there because I miss him interacting with Matt in that way, and now we're not going to get that anymore, and that feels bad.
Yeah, and the law partner that he does interact with, it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, I don't really.
She is very much a side thought.
I can't name one characteristic of her except she's a lawyer. You know, like there's nothing really sticking out to me of like who she is.
She's nosy.
She's nosy.
She
just like a woman.
She's like, I'm gonna set you up. I'm gonna set you up with this girl, and I'm gonna be right.
Yeah, I did love that, but then everything else, I'm like, could we give her more of a character?
Everything since then has just been her being like, Matt, what the fuck are you doing?
Which is very funny, but
seems like they're good coworkers.
Yeah, no, I
but they're not best friends.
I'd love if Karen is there more in season 2.
Seems like that's what they're going for.
I love him hanging out. There's a lot of misery. You know, this season's really miserable for him, and I would love for season 2 for him to have a friend that he can talk to and have a beer with. You know, I just want him to be happy. He has so much Catholic guilt.
But that's
and his girlfriend sucks.
You shouldn't
maybe
have asked for another season of Daredevil. Then he wouldn't be happy.
I do. I feel personally. I was texting Stephan. I feel personally responsible for Foggy dying because I prayed. The monkey paw went down. I said, please, one more season of Daredevil.
Finger curls.
Yeah, I begged for this, and I killed Foggy Nelson. I killed a man.
You killed Foggy Nelson.
Shocker! I'm gonna come.
That's the episode. That's this video.
That's what we're talking about. Thank you for joining us for, I guess, I don't know, Talkcast Pod Show. What'd you think of Daredevil?
Vanessa.
What did you think, Vanessa?
What do you think of Vanessa?